back to the Ranton Review. We are reviewing today AEW Dynamite, coming back from Daily's Place, the homecoming show featuring a couple of big matches on the card. We got Malachi Black, we got Cody Rhodes, we got Darby Allin, we got the debut of an NXT tag team in AEW, we got Chris Jericho and his third labor. But before we get to any of that, I ask you guys, in exchange for this free review, to help out the channel by hitting that like button. It helps out the YouTube algorithm, let other fans of AEW know about this video channel and the fact that we do AEW Dynamite reviews right here, so I appreciate it very much, and let's get on with the review. The night started out with Chris Jericho taking on Juventud Guerrera, which is an old WCW feud, which I appreciate, being a person who watched WCW Monday Nitro back in the day through my high school years, and yeah, it was cool to see it. But there's a little bit of a problem with this match. Right off the bat, you could kind of tell that the chemistry was not there with them. Juvi was missing a couple moves. Jericho was a little slow, and they really just didn't have chemistry going on here. It's been so many years since they wrestled each other, and Jericho looks very, very tired. Like, these labors look like they are legitimately having an effect on him. I mean, he fought a war last week, so it's to be expected. There were some moments in the match, especially when there was that top rope almost Styles Clash by Jericho that was actually supposed to be a move into the Lion Tamer or the Walls of Jericho, that I was scared. I was like, oh no, don't. I thought Juvi was gonna fall and break his neck. Fortunately, nothing like that happened. Jericho wins the match with a top rope Judas effect, which looked pretty goddamn awesome. Wins the match over Juventud. Of course, then we get Wardlow coming to the ring, beating up both Juvi Juice and Jericho. MJF announces, of course, after the match that the next trial, which is, I don't know how they're going to do this. Well, actually, I do have an idea how they're going to do this. The next trial is going to be Chris Jericho versus Wardlow with MJF as the referee. Now, there's one thing that I noticed during MJF giving commentary that makes me think I can see a way out of Jericho in this match. MJF ran down Juventud, almost called him a mass freak or something. He called Nick Gage an idiot. So I'm wondering if this isn't the last we're going to see of Nick Gage and Juventud Guerrera, and if they are going to participate next week in helping Chris Jericho win that match against Wardlow, because outside of that, I don't see any way Jericho's winning the match. Get to something fairly interesting, the next phase of this Hangman and Page storyline, which a lot of people were wondering about, given the fact that the Dark Order and Page lost the 10-man elimination match, thus kind of ending the story of Hangman going after Kenny Omega and the Dark Order going after the Young Bucks. In this segment, backstage, Hangman Page lets the Dark Order go. They have severed ties, which now I think there's probably going to be more speculation from people as to whether or not he's going to be teaming up with certain other people that may be coming into AEW. More to find out later, but the intrigue again is there, and that's one of the things that AEW is doing very well, is they're keeping you guessing and getting you going, I wonder what's coming next. I wonder what's coming next. The Dark Order, I think, will be fine on their own for a while, and Hangman Page, we'll just see where he's going to next. In a big trios match, Jeff Parker and Matt Lee, who were just in NXT, what, a month or two ago? They are now 2.0 in AEW. They're teaming up with Red Death, Daniel Garcia, who I don't know too much about, and they were taking on the six-man tag team of Darby Allin, who was along with Sting, of course, and Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston, and they called them out. Why would you call out Jon Moxley, Eddie Kingston, and Darby Allin? Now, of course, you got a bunch of experienced wrestlers, even though some of them you're not familiar with. This Daniel Garcia guy, he's amazing. His fluidity in mat wrestling is great. We got to see just a smidget of it between him and Darby Allin. That's a match I want to see one-on-one in the future. Moxley's having the time of his life. Most of the match during the commercial break was spent working over Eddie Kingston, but Kingston gets the hot tag. Moxley cleans house, hits the paradigm shift, or actually it was the Death Rider version of the paradigm shift on Garcia, to which then Darby Allin hits the coffin drop and picks up the win. One of the coolest spots in this match is when 2.0 is out on the floor and they kind of confront Sting, and the way the cameraman blocked it was brilliant, because you couldn't see Darby Allin, who all of a sudden came out of nowhere, boom, into your living room, and I was like, that was amazing. That was an amazing camera shot. That was perfectly done. AEW is starting to pick up some of these techniques now with their production as far as shooting these shows. More stuff like that, please. No shaky cams. More stuff like that. We then moved on to a couple other segments in the show. We had Christian Cage taking on the Blade in what was a fairly decent match. Christian's matches are all good. They're never bad, they're never spectacular, they're always just solid wrestling matches. And it seems, because of the way the announcers were talking about him being the #2 contender, they're going to try to do something with him in a championship. Now, whether or not that's the TNT title against Miro, which might be, I think more fans would probably rather see that than him go against Omega for the AEW World Championship, but we'll see. But they're definitely putting and positioning Christian in a good spot. AEW Women's Champion, Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. Oh, that was silly. She came out for a promo with Tony Schiavone. Didn't get too far before Red Velvet came out to the ring and basically making a challenge, setting up for the first show of Rampage, which will be happening in Britt Baker's hometown. So we get an AEW Women's Championship match, and Red Velvet, the one thing she said in this promo, which was true, is that she has improved a lot since they faced each other earlier on Dynamite. I think it was by the beginning of the year on at Daly's Place. So it's going to be a much more competitive match than the 3 minutes that it took for Britt to beat her the last time. The Elite then is celebrating being champions, cutting down ropes and stuff. The Elite then wind up going to the ring and interrupting Hangman Page during his promo time, which, you know, I don't think there's a promo in AEW that doesn't wind up with somebody interrupting. Does that ever happen in wrestling? But no, the Elite come out and they're all basically being the jackasses that they are. Kenny Omega in his megalomaniacal phase, talking about how, you know, I don't want you even begging to come back in the Elite. We thought about it. We don't want you back in here. And, you know, I think about what the Elite was then and what we are now. And then he looked at all the championships, because Gallows and Anderson are the Impact Tag Champs. The Young Bucks are the AEW Tag Champs, and Kenny Omega is the AEW World Champion. He's like, you're a loser. You don't belong with us and all this stuff. So Hangman didn't take too kindly to this, and it was time for some cowboy shit. Hangman went after them, knowing full well he was going to get his butt kicked. It's like 7-on-1, even counting Nakazawa and freaking whatever, Jay Cutler, whatever the hell his name is. So they beat up on Hangman. Now, interestingly enough, the Dark Order comes out, but Evil Uno, actually Super Smash Brothers, I always call them that, they wound up holding back the rest of Dark Order. And like, no, Page said he wanted to do this on his own. We're going to respect his wishes. We're not going to run out here and help him. But Page did get some help from the Bullet Club Hunter, or the Elite Hunter. He's not the Bullet Club Hunter. Sorry, Yoshitatsu. That didn't work well for Yoshitatsu. Hopefully this works better for Kazarian. The Elite Hunter comes out. He gets a couple good shots in before they kind of take over on him. Again, everybody's just severely outnumbered in this situation. And then we get about 3 or 4 BTE triggers from the Bucks on a defenseless Hangman Page. And then it ends with Omega once again crowning Hangman Page with the championship belt. That's a spot that they've done a couple times now. You know there's going to be a payback on that in the future. It's just a matter of when. This is very interesting because I think I kind of have an idea where this is going, because the last time somebody got hit with that many BTE triggers, they wound up being out, and that was Jon Moxley, to write him off the show for a couple weeks. Hangman might be off the show. They might have written him off, or he might come back next week or through a video, not actually be in the arena because he can't, but he might say, I'm coming back at Rampage on next Friday. So it's going to be interesting. They're kind of making you guess what's going to happen here now, because you got Hangman, Christian Cage, and of course potentially some guy from Chicago, some nobody, who might be the challengers for Kenny Omega at the All Out pay-per-view in Chicago. Where Dan Lambert is cutting a video promo and basically tells Lance Archer to show up next week because he's coming and he's going to bring backup. So God knows who that's going to be. So again, this is like the 3rd time in the show that they've made me go, I want to tune in to see that. It's not hard. It's not rocket science to book a wrestling show. This is what you do, and they're doing it really well. Next up, we had Miro defending the TNT Championship against a big shoddy Lee Johnson. And I like the fact that at the beginning of the match, JR talks about he's fought so hard and come so far. And then I kind of completed it by saying to be murdered by Miro, and that's exactly what happened in this match. I'm not quite sure what the plan is with Miro. They're kind of like throwing undercard guys at him for the TNT Championship, and except for Archer, he's beat all of them who probably weren't on his level. So I don't know what's really going on with where they're planning to go with this. I thought for a moment maybe Dustin was the next one stepping up, which I was like, still, that's not. Miro should be defending a title against some other people, but it is a workhorse championship though. Darby Allin did the same thing where he defended it against a lot of the lower to mid-card guys in AEW, so I guess it makes sense. I'm wondering, however, if there is somebody else that they've got planned coming up for All Out, because Miro is going to need an opponent, and I don't see a clear one yet, so we'll have to see what AEW is going to do with that. We got a brief little video from FTR talking about the injury that happened last week, or the other week, which was really nasty, and they even showed the slow motion of it and saw his skin getting peeled up by the hook. It's like a freak accident. The main point of this, though, was to set up the fact that we are going to get a proper match between FTR and Santana Ortiz coming up sometime in the near future, and they deserve another shot at it, because again, I think most of us know that they can have a lot better match than what they had. The match, it took a while for them to get into the groove, and then the injury happened, so they kind of rushed the ending of the match. It wasn't what we thought it was going to be, and I think with a second chance at it now, that these two teams, you might have another match of the year potential with this match between Santana and Ortiz and FTR, but time will tell. Jade Cargill is back with her Smart Mark manager, and she's coming back to Elevation. I guess she's still very green. That's all I took away from that segment. And legit Layla Hirsch and the Bunny took on each other for the NWA, a shot at the NWA Championship. Now here's what's really kind of odd. They are placating again to, now this is really to hardcore fans, because a lot of even hardcore fans don't watch the NWA. Some new fans might not be familiar with what that is, and I think they should do probably a better job of explaining that, because I think a lot of their audience, especially new people coming in, don't know why. Well, why are these two women fighting for a #1 contendership to another company's title, you know, and on this show, it didn't make any sense. Camille, who I actually am a big fan of when I used to watch NWA on a weekly basis, I try to catch up with them every so often. Amazing athlete, amazing wrestler. You know, it seems like all the really good female wrestlers, I shouldn't say it like that, but there are a lot of great female wrestlers that have not gravitated to AEW. I put AEW's women's division probably behind WWE's, NXT's, NWA's, and Impact's. That being said, it was an interesting size differential, even though the Camille was wearing high heels. It was still that kind of difference between her and Layla Hirsch. Hirsch is impressive, you know, for this little kind of, you know, spark plug that she is. But, you know, we're not going to see that match on Dynamite. So it's another good way to promote the NWA. But I must say this, in the PWM, which is the Pro Wrestling Multiverse, yes, I just coined that. In the Pro Wrestling Multiverse that we have now, the NWA's part of it is a little lackluster. Plus, they lost Thunder Rosa to AEW. She signed over to AEW full-time. So I don't know if the NWA is getting the best out of this deal, or if they're making as much of an impact, or if they're getting any viewership because they have these women's matches on Dynamite. I'm not sure. But hey, we'll see what's up with that. It'll be a match that I'll check out when it is on NWA though, so they at least got one viewer out of it. And then we get to the main event of the night. Malachi Black making his AEW in-ring debut against the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes, and it turned out to be a nightmare for Cody. Malachi Black coming out looking like Shao Kahn from Mortal Kombat. Pretty damn good ring entrance. I love the silhouette thing. They're getting pretty good on that kind of entrance thing. They're, you know, AEW, they don't quite do all the big bombast that WWE does, but the subtle things they do actually work pretty well. This match felt a lot like the Brody Lee match, the late Brody Lee match that Cody had, where he got dusted, and he got dusted in this one too. Malachi Black basically worked over his leg for a while. Then Cody tried to make a comeback, climbed up to the top rope, got kicked off, and was launched himself through the table at ringside. There wasn't much left. He did manage to get back into the ring, only to get the blackout, or whatever we're calling it now. And he hit him, I mean, that looked brutal. He hit him right on the chin, and Cody was out. Malachi Black, even though JR said he's not going to be like that, and then he did, Malachi Black beat Cody Rhodes by putting one foot on his chest. This then led to Cody in the ring afterwards, trying to get back to his feet, and he got on a microphone and was going to give one of his long speeches. We kind of assumed what was happening at this point, that he was going to announce his retirement. He then touched on some things. It's kind of funny because I've seen even some of you guys in my channel when I said whether or not Cody should turn heel a couple weeks ago at this match. A lot of y'all said he should retire. And Cody, this is why AEW, I get a kick out of them sometimes, because they actually listen to what the wrestling community says. So they totally played off of it here. Cody took one of his boots off, which is an old school tradition of when you retire, you leave your boots in the ring. He got one boot off before Malachi Black came out and hit him with the world's smallest crutch. I guess that crutch was actually for the legit girl. But yeah, Malachi Black hit him in the back and laid Cody out again. And basically we went off the air Malachi Black looking dominant and Cody looking embarrassed. Overall, it was a pretty damn decent episode of AEW Dynamite. Not quite the crazy matches that we've had. They've kind of scaled back on that this week. No big spot fest, no big brutal bloody brawls, which is a good thing to kind of give a break because they were doing it a lot for the last couple weeks and kind of taking a break from it, but still providing an entertaining show. This show had a lot of setup in it, and it had a lot of intrigue that was brought up. We don't know what's going on with Hangman now. We don't know what's going to be happening for Kenny Omega in the world title picture. Is Christian Cage going to get into it? We also got to wonder who's going to be the next challenger for Miro, because Miro's wasting people left and right, really has no challengers. What is going to happen with Lance Archer when the MMA invasion happens next week? All of these questions are left. Is Cody gone for good? We'll see. But I enjoyed it. This is more of a setup edition of Dynamite than one of those ones where we get like a legit pay-per-view card. You know, you get kind of spoiled with those after a while, but it was a pretty good show of professional wrestling. But I want to know what you guys think about this. Let your voice be heard in the comment box below. Also, don't forget, in the description box, I got a lot of free stuff, free stocks, free crypto, free trials of Amazon and Audible, all available for you down in the description box below. I'll see you guys next time for more news, rumors, and reviews here on the Rant and Review Pro Wrestling. Have a good day.